Hey guys, um, I'm just gonna make this video and talk about something that happened today that I thought is worth making a point out of. So I live like in the middle of Wisconsin, basically, like right in the center. And a friend of mine, excuse me, a friend of mine and I went to Minneapolis for an America's Got Talent audition. We didn't get to audition because of stupid guardianship and us both being 17 and just whatever. But we were there and whatever. So driving back from Minneapolis was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. Or scariest, maybe. I don't know if it was worst. It's not to say it wasn't slightly entertaining for a part, but this is why. So we're in the a 3 or 4 lane highway, and I'm in the passenger seat. My friend Jessica's driving the car, and we kind of come up behind a semi, and we decide to kind of go around it. So we go into the left lane, and then we pass the semi, and all of a sudden out of nowhere this car zooms up from behind the semi and starts to ride Jessica's ass. We're like, what the hell, dude? He was right on her ass. So she was doing the little brake checks. And she tried that 3 or 4 times and he still kept riding her ass. And I wasn't really reacting then. Excuse me, my throat is really dry. And then after we get out of the clear of the semi, he zooms right next to us, and we just think that he's super mad or whatever. And he's starts yelling things out the window oh, rolling down, I'm we're not rolling down our window. No. So he's you could've, I was reading his lips, he's you could've given me whiplash, bitch. That's what he kept saying. It's a brake check. I mean, if you hit us, yeah, I mean, that wasn't your fault, Just zooming, and he's basically if he's driving over here, he's yelling at us like this, and he's not even watching where he's going. I'm he's just yelling all these obscenities. Half of it I couldn't make out. I tried, but I didn't want to just be staring at him. I didn't want to make a whole bunch of eye contact with him. And at first I'm oh my god, this guy is just crazy. What the hell? And then he gets I look over at him, or he's I am so stoned. I am high as fuck. That's what he was saying. And I was what? And I look over, and he has an air compressor can. I think it's to clean the keyboards, and it has that little skinny nozzle at the end of it. He's sucking out of that, for a long time. He's doing a little trigger, and I was oh my god, I've never, oh my, you just don't see that. It's really weird. It's bizarre. It feels so unnatural. I've been around people smoking pot, and one time I was at a place where I knew that people were snorting coke, but I'd nothing that was just weird. On the road in the middle of this highway, this guy was he was looking at me he was sucking it, he wanted me to see him, to see that he was doing that. And he's driving swerving all over the place, and I'm oh my god, Jessica, this guy's high. And she's I'm look what he's doing. She's I don't want to look. So she's driving, and I think she glanced over him for a second, but he's I am so high. And then he's you are hot as fuck. You are so hot. And I'm and then he his window is still rolled down, and he's hold my hand. So he reaches his hand out. He's hold my hand, and he gets his car really close to ours. And since we're in the left lane, there's just like the highway divider and him. So like if he hits us, we go into the highway divider, and and then there's like snow all along this as well. So I mean, he's swerving all over the place, and he like would get probably, I swear to you, like this close, 6 inches, if that, to our car. And when we're so far over, there's no place we can go. You can't just go into another lane. I mean, we're in left lane, and there's a divider there. So he was just swerving all over the place, and it was really scary. Like, we didn't know how to handle it. Like, fortunately we did handle it, but we were like, we would slow down and speed up, like try to get away from him, but he would like catch up to us. Like at one point, he's in the lane next to us, and we got next to a semi, and he would like zoomed around the semi, and we tried to like be slow, but eventually we met up. Couldn't get off the first exit because we couldn't get over quick enough. And then so we got off the second exit, and then we like didn't really think about it, but we wanted to like make sure that, this guy, we watched him drive away, and he's just going like zooming, like swerving everywhere all over this road, and really, really dangerous, really, really dangerous. And I'm not exaggerating at all. If anything, I'm not even expressing to you quite how crazy it was. I was so scared though. I like stopped breathing for a second, and like was like sobbing. Like I was so afraid. Like that was seriously the closest to death I've ever come. And like I had like, I accepted the fact that I was going to die for a second. Like, I don't know. That sounds dramatic, and I don't mean it to sound dramatic, but I was thinking about my fiance. I was just thinking like, oh my god, if this guy hits us, we'll hit the wall, and traffic will T-bone us, and she's in this little cube, Nissan Cube, like, it's just crazy. And so we pulled off of this highway, and she started shaking. Like, she handled it really fine during, and then afterwards she kind of got afraid, and then we called 911, and they hooked us up to the Wisconsin Minnesota boundary or border patrol or whatever. And then we didn't get the license plate, but I'll just explain to you, if anybody that sees this lives in that area at all and sees this car or sees this person, anyway, it was a greenish, like sort of a pastel olive color. Think of like an olive green, that kind of color. Like, I don't think everything in my room was black, white, and yellow, so I think I don't have a good example. I'm sorry. Sort of this color, maybe similar to this green. So it was the car it reminded me of a Pontiac vibe, but it wasn't a Pontiac vibe. It was just like bigger than a car, a little more compact than an SUV. And he had like short, like black curly hair, and he was sort of darker. Like, maybe, I don't know if it was just like Latin or if it was like Italian, or what, but he had sort of just not that dark of skin, but just a little darker color. And he had a big lip ring here, like a round thing there. It was silver. Took it out of an air compressor can. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just spitballing. And I'm thinking he was from Minnesota, because we were just kind of heading out of Minneapolis, headed toward the Wisconsin border. So, and I-94, was it? I-95, I-94, one of those. I don't know. So yeah. And it just made me think, I called my dad right away, and I was just like, every time you say I love you, make sure say it like you mean it. Don't just be like, okay, I love you, bye. Like, mean it and say it like you mean it, because you don't ever know when it's going to be the last time you say it. And when you hug someone or whatever, like, just make sure that you mean it. Kiss somebody like it's the last time. Just, that's what I've been trying to live by actually for the last few weeks, so it's kind of ironic, but definitely to help justify that. So this video is way long, but yeah, I just wanted to say that. So thanks for watching, and God bless.